Okay guys, so let's get started with this super cute folio explosion box. So I've got my chipboard cut here and I've got my lightweight black cardstock ready to go. So you're gonna need one piece that measures 5 1/8 by 7 1/8, and this is for the lid. We're doing the lid right now. You're gonna need 2 pieces that measure 1 1/2 by 7 1/8, so 2. And then 2 that measure 1 1/2 by 5 1/8. Okay, before we start gluing these on, I'm going to go ahead and add my tape to these edges. You don't need it on both edges because one of the edges is covered with the paper, and you'll see what I mean later. But I always forget to do this while I'm doing the lid, so it's just easier for me to do it beforehand. So I've already done 3 of them, but I'm going to show you guys what to do with the 4th one. So this is just Scotch masking tape, black Scotch masking tape that I buy at Michael's, okay? You can also get it on Amazon. This might be too short. No, it's good. All right, so then I just attach it to one side like this and then fold it over just like this. Nothing fancy, doesn't have to be straight. Doesn't have to be perfect at all because it's getting covered eventually with pattern paper, but I just like to cover those edges because I forget while I'm doing the album, and then I have it put together and then I end up having raw edges, and I really don't like that. So obviously this only works if you're using black cardstock. If you're using white, you're going to want to get white masking or whatever color cardstock you're doing. I really only do black, white, and craft for my albums, but I've yet to find a craft tape that I like. So what we're going to do is we're going to glue these pieces onto this. So this piece here measures 12 by 12, just a piece of 12 by 12 cardstock. So we're going to go ahead and basically they're just going to get attached like this in here. I have to figure out my placement for top and bottom because I'm not going to have a full inch to fold over. But I think I'm going to be fine. If I just put this in the center, I think I'm going to be fine. So this is our piece of medium weight chipboard that measures 5 1/8 by 7 1/8. And I am just attaching or putting my Fabri-Tac on here. I do get asked all the time why I use fabric glue. And it's not because it's fabric glue, it's just because it's a really nice glue that does not show through to the other side. Very, very, very important to me that it doesn't bubble and show through to the other side. All right, guys, so I'm just moving this a bit so that I have room to fold over on both sides. And like I said, we're not getting a full inch here, but that's okay. That's just fine. That is not the end of the world. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Now this one you don't need to wrap because we're gonna put the masking down on this after, okay? All right, that looks good. All right, so now let's put on these sides, just like this. Easy peasy. This is going to be such a cute little explosion box. So the 7/8 pieces go on the sides, obviously. And you're going to want to leave a gap of about 1/8 of an inch, just so it has room to fold, okay guys? Make sure to do that. So I've got those all attached down. So now what we need to do is just trim a little bit off this side and this side. So I'm just gonna trim about 3/4 of an inch, just so we leave roughly an inch to fold over. Just like that. Doesn't have to be perfect, doesn't have to be neat, nothing like that, okay? All right, so that's looking good. So the next thing we need to do is cut from this corner here down to this edge in here, okay? And you need to do that on all 4 sides. So just from this corner here, cut straight down all the way into this corner, okay? So do that on all 4 sides. Next, we need to cut down here like this, and then cut down here like that, okay? And then also across this edge, just like that. Make sure not to go too close to the edge. But so you'll see we've got a flap going this way and a flap going this way. And then we've cut the edge there. And I can do it here too, just to demonstrate for you guys, all right? Then what's gonna happen is this is gonna fold over here, and this will fold over on this side, and then this will fold down. So I'm gonna do this on all 4 sides, and then we're gonna attach our masking tape on the inside here. Okay, so now you can see that I have done that on all of my sides. So now we can go ahead and fold all of our sides over like this and give them a nice burnish so that they have a nice clean edge all the way around. Before we move on, we're going to go ahead and cover these creases here with the black masking again. So just go ahead and bring it to one edge here, and then just bring it across, and then just trim it off on that side. You can give it a little angle cut if you want, kind of like this. So it looks neater, but that's totally a preference thing. All right, and you need to do that on all 4 sides. Okay, so now we have all that tape attached, and I've brought these up a little bit. So what we need to do is on each one, we need to glue one down like this. So with tape or glue or whatever you prefer, glue one down. And then this one, this flap stays loose. and that is the flap that attaches. And that is the reason we added this black tape here, because this flap would have covered this side, will cover this side when it folds down, but this one wouldn't have had that, because this one comes over to attach here, and then you would have seen that raw edge in there. So that's why we do that. Okay, so I am just going to go side by side, and I'm going to show you the first one. So this one I'm going to use just my art glitter glue for, just to glue this down. So just make sure you get it all nice and over the whole flap, and bring it over just like this. Okay, and then you can take your bone folder and just give that a nice burnish down. The art glitter glue grabs pretty quickly. And then for this flap here, I do want to use this score tape. So I'm going to actually go over my little corners that I've cut, because I want to make sure that it goes edge to edge, because that is what is holding our whole lid together. And then we'll just trim off on this side as well. And then you can do the same thing over here, because we're going to be attaching this one right away here too. So again, just, you can bring it right over the edge, and then just trim off the excess, just like so. And you can always just bring it in as well. Once you take the cover off, you can just scooch it in a bit. All right, and I can go ahead actually and just glue this side down here too. So I'm going to show you guys how to put one side together, and then I'll get the other side done. So just burnish this down nicely, just like so. Make sure it's nice and neat. And then up here, we're also going to use score tape. So just, and then I'm actually gonna take this off now already and attach another piece lower down, because this is basically the piece that kind of holds the sides together. So I want to make sure that it is very secure. So just go ahead and trim off that excess just like that. All right, and then we're going to go ahead and attach this side. So just bring it up, butt it up against this. Make sure the edges are really nice and square. Just like so. All right, and then we can move over here and do this side. So same thing, just remove the backing, bring it together, and then just press that down. And then we can remove the rest of the backing on this top flap. And just bring it down over the top of these two, and that's gonna help it stay really nice and secure. So those are attached, so we're gonna go over here and attach these, and then I'll be right back and I'll show you how to fold these flaps down. Okay, so I've done the same thing over here that we did on this side. So now I'm just gonna go ahead and remove the backing of my tape from this flap and bring it down really nice and tight, because this is again what helps our lid to stay together nice. And then same thing here, just remove that backing and make sure it's nice and tight on both sides, just like so. All right, so that is our lid finished. So as you can see on the inside here, we have no uncovered edges, right? They're all covered on the inside here, and that's why we did that black masking tape, okay? So I am going to cover the inside of this with black cardstock, and then that will finish that. So let's work on the bottom of our box. All right, so these pieces are going to measure, you're going to need one big one that measures 5 by 7, two small ones or side pieces that measure 2 by 5, and two that measure 2 by 7, okay? Then you're gonna need 2 pieces of cardstock, 12 by 12. So one measures 12 by 12 and one measures 12 by 6. And I've already attached a piece of the score tape. I'm using 3/8. You could use 1/8 of an inch or 1/2 inch or whatever for this. And then I'm just attaching these 2 pieces together right here like this. So remember, this is 12 by 12, this is 12 by 6, and I'm attaching it on the 12-inch side. And now we're just gonna bring in these pieces here. So we're gonna lay them out like this so that they fit just like this. All right, perfect. You can even move this one over a bit. So kind of bring it over this score line a bit, because you don't want it to be like this, because then it's gonna crack when it comes up. So again, I'm just attaching my Fabri-Tac here, and I'm gonna bring it past this line, about 1.5 inches past the line where we attach the 2 pieces together, just like so. Kind of try to make sure they're straight. And then we're gonna attach the pieces the same way we did for the lid, all the way around, about 1/8 of an inch from where they connect, right? So we're gonna leave about 1/8 of an inch of space in here. Okay guys, so I've got those attached. So now we need to go ahead and cut a bit off. So you can try to leave about 1 inch. Doesn't have to be perfect. Again, totally doesn't have to be perfect. All right, so we're gonna do the same thing we did at the top. or on the lid, I should say. We're going to cut down all the way into this corner on all 4 sides. Guys, now, so the same thing, just cut down these sides here, and I'll just do a little neater cut here, kind of crooked, and then just cut across, just like so. Okay, do that on all 4 sides. All right, so we've got them all cut apart. So now you can go ahead and just varnish these down really nicely all the way around. All right, so we've got them all varnished down nicely. So now we're gonna go ahead and add the black masking to cover our creases. Another thing, I don't know if you noticed or not, but we did do our lid 1/8 of an inch larger in both directions than the bottom. And that is because we need the lid to fit over top. So that is why we did that. So again, we're just going to attach these black masking on all 4 sides. If you do forget to do it before, you can still put it on after. It just doesn't, to me, it doesn't look as neat. And I like it to look really neat. But if you forget, it's not the end of the world. It can be done after these flaps come up. And most of it's covered with pattern paper anyways. You probably wouldn't even actually notice too much, but so there we go. We've got all of that attached there. Make sure all these are coming up neat. Okay, so now I'm just going to use the art glitter glue on all of my little side flaps, and I'm on all 4 flaps. I'm just going to bring the 2 sides in first. So I'm going to use the art glitter glue. I'm going to bring the 2 sides in, and then the top over top. That just makes it look nice and neat and finished. So I'll finish this one with you guys, and then I'll do the rest. So just all over, make sure you get into those corners. Bring it over top, and then just burnish, burnish, burnish. And if any glue comes out, you can wipe that away. Not the end of the world. All right, so I'm going to do that on all 4 sides. Okay, so now you can go ahead and take your bone folder and just find your creases here that your tape is in, just like so, and bring it up, all four sides, and then you're going to be able to just take your lid and it's going to slip on, no problem, because we give it that extra space on the top, so easy peasy. All right, so let's go ahead and work on the inside pieces. Okay guys, so we have the construction of our cute little explosion folio done. So now we're gonna work on some of the flaps for the inside. So I'm gonna go ahead and attach all my flaps and then attach the extra things we're gonna add to it. So for the top and the bottom, I'm gonna have it like a faux envelope type of closure. So this is the piece that's gonna go on the bottom, and this one measures 7 by 6 3/4, and on the 7-inch side you're going to score at 1/2 inch for your attaching flap, and then you're also going to score at 2 1/4, so 1/2 and 2 1/4, and then on the 1/2 inch flap you're going to attach your tape, your 3/8 score tape, and then I'm just going to snip my little corners here, and we do this so that when we attach the pattern paper, it looks neater underneath. So I'm going to go ahead and just remove a bit of my backing here, and I'm going to line it up on this side. So it is 6 3/4 wide, so you're going to center it between these two score lines because it's not the exact same width as our box. So just as best as you can, making sure you're staying above that score line, above this here. You don't want to put it past that because then the box isn't going to close. All right, so once you have it where you want it, go ahead and press down over here. And then remove the rest of that backing. And then this will come like that. So that's the first one in there. Perfect. So now for this top one, we're going to create our little faux envelope closure. So this piece measures 5 1/4 by 6 3/4. On the 5 1/4 side, you're going to score at 1/2 inch and 2 1/4. All right, so we'll quickly snip these. And again, I've attached my 3/8 score tape. So for this, you're going to mark down from this second score line here. So we've got this score line and we've got this one. So from this second score line down, you're going to mark 1 1/2 on both sides. So 1 1/2 here, 1 1/2 here, okay? And then you're going to find your center, which is 3 3/8, and you're going to make a mark. And then I'm just going to bring my cutter in here, and I'm going to cut across from here to here. You could use a craft knife and a cutting surface to do this, but I figure most people probably have a trimmer, so it's easier to show you this way, and I am going to do it on the other side as well, just like that. So that gives us our cute little faux envelope closure. So now I'm just going to, I think I'm going to turn it around so I can see it better, but this is the top. So then again, I'm just removing a tiny bit of my backing, and I'm going to lay it down, and I'm going to lay this down. Maybe it's better from the side, and so that I can line them up evenly with each other. So don't press down on the side that has the, I don't press down on the side that has the tape. I only press down over here till I get it nice and lined up. All right, and then once you have it where you want it, you can go ahead and remove the rest of that tape and press it down. just like so, and then you'll have that cute little envelope closure at the top. We are going to add a magnet here, but I'm not going to do that yet. I will do that after. All right, so now we're going to open it up like this, and we are going to add our 2 side flaps. So I have one side flap here, and it's going to go over here on this side, and then I have one that's going to go over here on this side. So again, this piece measures 8 3/4 by 4 5/8, and I've scored it 1/2 inch and at 2. And I'm going to go ahead and just snip my corners on my little 1/2 inch section, and I'm going to remove a bit of that backing, and I'm going to place it down. I'm just going to place it down and center it top and bottom, because it's not the same size, the same width as our explosion folio. And then once you have it where you want it, go ahead and press down on this side and press it all down, just like so. And then we'll go ahead and attach the one over here. So this one measures 8 1/4 by 4 5/8, and you're going to score 1/2 and 1 3/4. And again, we'll just snip these quickly, just like so. And we'll just remove a bit of our backing. I'm going to lay this down so that I can line it up evenly on this side as well, and just center it right on this one. Make sure it lines up. And then once you have it where you want it, go ahead and press down over here and bring that down. Okay, so this is going to go underneath this one, and then this one will go on top. And then as it gets its little layers underneath, it'll start to take better shape. So for the inside back, all the way at the back here of our explosion folio, we're going to do a cute little fold up that's just easier to see once it's on. So you're going to need a piece that measures 11 1/2 by 6 1/2, and on the 6 1/2 inch side, you're going to score 1/2 inch, 1 1/4, 5 1/2, 6 1/4, 10 1/2, and 11. So you can just pause on this if you need to for seeing the measurements. So down here on the little 1/2 inch section, we're going to attach one more little piece of cardstock, and we're just going to trim those edges. So for down here, you need a piece that measures 4 by 6 1/2, and I'm just going to attach it right here. Just peel this back and line it up with our little hinge, and then press down and just remove the rest of that backing. All right, so now we're going to do the same thing up here. We're just going to trim and trim. All right, now this is going to get attached, centered right in here between our 2 side flaps. So again, remove a bit of your backing, and then just center it as best as you can. And once you have it where you want it, go ahead and press it down, and then just remove the rest of that backing. So then this piece will fold in, and then this will fold down, and then it'll all fold down like this. Once we've got all of our score lines crisped up, just like that. Okay, so now this is will close in, and then this will close in, and this comes up, and then this will come down. But we'll add our little magnetic closure to this, and then it'll all be secure in there. So now let's work on all of the little extras for our flaps. Okay guys, so we're gonna start putting our little extras on all the way in the back here. So we've got this little fold up section that we did on the back inside cover. So we're gonna unfold it. I have to move this and unfold it again, okay? Right here in this section is where we're going to do a waterfall, okay? So I've got 5 waterfall pieces, and they measure 4.5 by 4. On the 4.5 side, you're gonna score at 1/2 inch. And then we're just gonna attach them right here in this section. So when you unfold, you have 1, 2, 3 sections. We're gonna attach them in this middle section. So I'm going to just remove a little bit of my backing. And I am going to center it in there as best as I can, because there is gonna be about 1/8 inch of space on either side. So I just took a little bit of my backing off. Okay, and then once you have it where you want it, you can go ahead and remove the rest of that backing, just like so. All right, and then we're gonna put on the next piece. So again, it's just 4.5 by 4 scored at 1/2 inch on the 4.5 inch side, and we're just going to fold down the score line. And then I've just removed a bit of my backing again, and that's just going to get butted up to the bottom of the one that we've got here. And then I always like to close it down and make sure they match up, okay? Always, always, always a good plan. And then just remove the rest of that backing. Okay, then I'm just gonna attach the other 3 the same way. Okay, so we've got them all attached. So now I'm just gonna go ahead and give them all a nice burnish down. Just like so. All right, and they actually lay really nice and flat in there. So I'm not gonna do a closure. So here and here are just gonna be photo mats, spaces for photo mats, also here. And then this will just come and fold in like this, okay? So that's that section done. So over here on this side, on this flap, because remember this would fold on top of this. So over here on this flap, I'm gonna show you exactly what I did over here. The only difference is, so this is what's gonna go over here on this side. We're going to have a flap at the top, and then we're gonna have a pocket at the bottom that's going to close it up. That's gonna have a little photo mat in here to close it up. The only difference is this flap is slightly smaller. So on this side, this piece is gonna measure 7 3/8 by 1 1/2, okay? Then you're gonna score at 1/2 inch on 2 short sides and 1 long side. So you're gonna get your little pocket shape like this. And then your flap on this side is gonna measure 4 by 6 1/4. And then on the 4 inch side, you're gonna score at 1/2 inch, just like this, and attach it right at the top. So I'm gonna show you exactly what I did over here, except these sizes are just a little bit smaller, okay? Because this flap is a little bit smaller. And then this is just a 4 1/4 by 4 1/4 photo mat that's gonna go in here to close this up, okay? Because we're working really hard in this album to not, or sorry, this folio, to not use very many magnets, okay? So let's work on this flap over here. So this is the one that would fold down over top of our inside back section. So for this side over here, you're gonna need a pocket that measures 1 1/2 by 7 5/8. And then on the 7 5/8 side, you're gonna score on the 2 short sides. And then on the 1 1/2 inch side, you're gonna score at 1/2 inch. So you're going to have that, okay? So the first thing we need to do is take our scissors and cut across. So I'm going to cut across right here. So I'm basically going to cut that little section on that side out at an angle, just like this, okay? So then what we're going to do is attach this piece here. Just make sure it's nicely burnished. We're going to attach it to the bottom of this flap. So I'm just getting my bone folder here and just really nicely reinforcing these. Okay, and then you can get your glue. So I'm just using the art glitter glue here. Just a little bit clogged up. So just unclogging the glue. All right, so you're just gonna attach it or put it all over those flaps, just like so. Okay, and I'm going to start on my outer corner here. I'm going to place the outer corner down first, all the way into the top, or the outer corner, and all the way to the bottom. Just like this, okay? And it's going to leave a little bit of room over here, and that's okay. That is intentional. I didn't want it to go all the way to my score line. So just use your bone folder and just nicely burnish it down, just like so. All right, then we're going to do our top flap. So our top flap measures 6.5 by 4, and on the 4-inch side, you're going to score it 1/2 inch to get your flap. And I'm just attaching my score tape here. And then just go ahead and trim your little flaps like this so you get it to look neater under your pattern paper. And this I'm just going to center into the top here, and there will be about 1/8 of an inch on both sides because it's not the complete length of my flap. Once you have it where you want it, go ahead and press it down over here and then remove the rest of that backing, just like this. And then you'll put your little 4 1/4 by 4 1/4 insert in, and that's what's going to keep that flap closed, okay? So now we've got our inside back here done, and we've got this done. So now we're going to fold this over and bring it in, just like this. And we are going to do a pocket and a flap again, except our pocket is going to come down here and our flap is going to be up here like this, okay? So for the pocket here, just making sure I have the right pocket. Oh, I think these measure the same anyways. Yeah. For the pocket here, you're going to need a piece that measures 5 5/8 by 2, and on the 2-inch side you're going to score it 1/2 inch, and on the 5 5/8 side you're going to score it 1/2 inch on each side. And we're going to do the exact same thing. We're just going to cut those corners out just like this. Just cut across the corner to get rid of that little square on the side. Then we are going to just nicely reinforce those with our bone folder so they're really nice and crisp. Just makes it way easier to put them down nice and neatly if they're really nice and reinforced. Just like that. All right, now you can get your glue again. So again, I'm just using the art glitter glue here. And just put it all over the flaps. Don't put too much. You don't want it to ooze out. And this is a very strong glue, so you don't need a lot anyways. So this is going to run the entire bottom of our pocket here. So just attach it all the way into the bottom as neatly as you can. press it down. Just with your fingers here. Just like so. Okay, now we can attach the flap at the top here. So this flap measures 4 7/8 by 4 3/8. And on the 4 7/8 inch side, you're gonna score it 1/2 inch up here. So I'm just going to attach my score tape on that 1/2 inch flap here. Just like so. All right, and then we can go ahead and again, just angle these flaps. All right, and then that's gonna get attached right up here. Just make sure not to go past your score line. So we are going to, just gonna take this out, it's in my way. It's just gonna get attached right up here. I'm gonna turn it to myself so I can see it better. And it's the same, you're gonna leave about 1/8 of an inch on each side. And then once you have it where you want it, go ahead and press it down over here and then remove the rest of that backing, just like so. And then we're just going to, again, just put an insert in here to keep it closed, just like this. Except I'm gonna do a larger insert, probably 3.5 by 5 for this one, okay? And then we're going to do the exact same thing on this one here. So we've got this side coming up now, and on this flap here, we're gonna do the same thing. So again, our piece measures 5 5/8 by 2, and we're gonna score at 1/2 inch on both sides of the 5 5/8 side, and then 1/2 inch on the 2 inch side. And we're just gonna cut across those corners, just like so. And then we are going to burnish these so they're nice and crisp and neat. On this one though, we are going to attach our pocket to the bottom here, is where the pocket's gonna go. So again, just grab your glue and we're just gonna add our glue to that. And we're gonna attach it to the bottom of this flap. So I'm just gonna turn it upside down. Just attach it all the way into the bottom and all the way to both sides. And then just make sure it's pressed down nicely. Just like so. All right, and now we can attach our flap at the top here. So remember, this one measures 4 7/8 by 4 3/8. And on the 4 7/8 side, you're gonna score 1/2 inch. And we're just gonna angle those corners, and that's gonna go right up here. And remember, there's about 1/8 of an inch of room on both sides. It doesn't go edge to edge. And then once you have it where you want it, you can go ahead and remove the rest of your tape and then just lay it back on itself so that it attaches nicely. And then we're just gonna put, again, an insert in here to close it up, okay? All right, so those are those flaps finished. So now let's work on this inside. This is the inside of our front bottom flap. So this first piece here measures 7 1/4 by 4 3/4. And on the 7 1/4 side, you're gonna score at 1/2 inch. I'm just gonna snip these. and then remove a bit of your backing, and it's going to get attached on this side here all the way to this side, just like so. So then just remove the rest of that backing. And then we have another piece here, and this piece measures 5 by 6 3/4, and on the 5-inch side you're going to score it 1/2 inch. And again, let's just snip these, and we're going to attach this at the bottom here so it can open out to the bottom on top of this flap. Okay, so just remove a bit of your backing, and we'll line it up over here on this side. Make sure to line it up right on top of your other flap. And then once you have it where you want it, you can go ahead and remove the rest of that backing. So then that will open down and to the side, and then you'll still have all this awesome room inside here. All right, let's go ahead and attach our magnet right here. So I'm going to use a large magnet, the large basic gray magnets. So they come like this. They've already got the backing. I'm going to grab a plus and a negative. And so this is the only magnet that we're using in this whole book, Folio, which I think is pretty cool. That was my goal. All right, so I'm going to just remove the backings, just like so. And I'm going to attach it first up here, quite a ways down, because I want to be able to get my, pattern paper on there nice and neat. And I'm going to make sure it's nice and square down here and up here as best as I can. Just put your hand under there and give it a good press there, and then that'll get it nicely attached, and that'll keep the inside of our book nice and closed. Okay guys, to make the little decorative piece to cover this faux envelope here, you're going to need a piece that measures 2 3/4 by 6 1/2 of your pattern paper. And then you're going to mark down from the top 1 1/4 on both sides. And you're going to find your center, which is 3 1/4. And then you're going to line these up in your paper trimmer from this notch to this notch and cut across on both sides. You can also do this with a craft knife and a metal ruler. I'm just doing it this way for the sake of time right now. And this is just as effective. Either way, you're good. All right, so now this piece is going to layer perfectly right into here, okay? So I'm gonna grab my Fabri-Tac here, because I do like to use my Fabri-Tac for matting. All right, just gonna layer right in there. And then there you go. So that's how you create that piece to go into there. And then for the back side, you would just do the exact same thing. So now I'm just gonna go ahead and attach all of my matting and pattern papers, and then you guys will see the finished Folio Explosion box in the walkthrough. Thank you so much for joining me for this. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys enjoyed the tutorial. If you make it, please post it in the Scrapbookers of Country Craft Creations group. I would love to see it. All right, guys, I'll see you next time.